I'd like to talk to you today about staff and what they pay to have their hair done or their beauty services done. Now we could probably fill a room and have about 10 or 20 examples of this. Now I'm not going to say it's right, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but what you need to consider is if you've got two people that are being paid a wage, so let's make it easy, for example, on $25 an hour. So if Susie's working and Sarah's working and they say they're quiet, can they work on each other? Well, that's $50 an hour that you're not gaining. So you might say, well, they haven't got any clients. Yes, but there's other things they could be doing. Now, I'm not saying they could be cleaning, they could be training each other. So that's interesting. You could say, well, that's why we're doing the models. Yeah, that's okay. But that's different to someone just having a beauty service done for the sake of a beauty service. So if it's a training, then I want it to be critiqued. I want someone to, explain to the other person how it's being done. I don't want them to go into the beauty room, shut the door and just start yakking and working on each other and someone comes out and they've got no hair on their legs. That's great for the person who went in to have their legs waxed, but that's not really the result I'm after. So you need to consider that, and it depends on your model. There's a lot of, I think in the past it was more give and take. Staff members stay back late, so therefore they get their hair done, and I think, well, that's okay. But you also need to think about perhaps the men who shave their head. They don't have any services done. So is that fair to compare that person with the staff member who's got a full head of blonde foils? That's a lot of work, and they're going to have to do that every 6 to 8 weeks. So does that compare with Phil who shaves his head? Absolutely not. I think you should collect the visits in the computer like anybody else, and even if you are going to give it to them for free because that's what you believe, then you need to put it down as a free service. But at any point you can go back to your computer and say, well, actually last month you had $678 worth of services and Phil, who's got no hair, had none. So is that fair? I don't think it is. You need to be giving Phil something, or you need to be asking for a percentage. Now, you might think that asking just for the peroxide and the bleach, or in beauty the spray tan, I don't know, because and this is a personal thing that we work on with you, but I think that something needs to be organised. It's all for free. It doesn't really work. I like to have a list of who gets 20% off and who gets 50% off, and make it up front. That's free. You might have traders in your street and they get 10% off. So I want their names. I don't want someone saying, oh yeah, he got a trade discount. You think, well, he hasn't worked in the street for 4 years. So, there needs to be some guidelines. You can see how easily it can be hard to manage. So staff having their hair and beauty services done, I think that we need to talk about what's fair. And you could do this with the team, and you consider what percentage. You've got some that are running out the door at 5 past screaming they want overtime. Well, I think they can pay for their hair, to be honest. And then you've got others that don't really, that doesn't concern them, and it's a give and take, and that's fine. The only thing with that model, it's much harder to manage, and you'll find yourself making decisions on a daily basis about that. If you set up some serious guidelines, and then you don't have to make those decisions, they're kind of done, really, aren't they? So that's something that I'd like you to consider when you're thinking about staff and what the perks are for them. I hope that's been helpful.